Welcome back, Star Wars fans. Today we're diving deep into Star Wars Skeleton Crew with a SWOT analysis of episodes 1 and 2. If you're new here, SWOT stands for Strengths, Weaknesses, Opportunities, and Threats. In the business world, it's a great way to break down what works, what doesn't, and what might be coming down the hyperlane. There's a lot to cover, so grab your blue milk and let's jump in, starting with episode 1. Right out of the gate, Skeleton Crew starts strong by jumping into the action. No long-winded exposition or slow world building. It gets straight to the good stuff. The pirates robbing the ship added an immediate sense of danger, setting the tone for the adventure. Another strength was the setting. I love seeing a regular neighborhood on an Earth-like planet. Yes, it was almost too Earth-like at times, but it felt relatable. For a franchise that often feels larger than life, this grounded setting was a refreshing change. It's the kind of place where you could imagine yourself growing up, tinkering with speeders in the backyard. The production quality was another major strength. Little details like the tablet Wim uses, its tactile buttons, and retro futuristic design felt perfect for the Star Wars aesthetic. The speeders, too, had this incredible sense of weight as they maneuvered. You could feel their heft and see the care that went into crafting those scenes. And Neil's prosthetics? Fantastic. They blended seamlessly into the world. I never found myself distracted by the effects, which is a testament to the production team. And can we talk about the visuals? So many shots. The shots of the kids walking into what they thought was a Jedi temple was absolutely stunning. That's the kind of cinematic grandeur Star Wars fans live for. So those were the strengths. Let's talk about some weaknesses. It wasn't all smooth sailing. Fern's character is, let's just say she's a mixed bag. She acts much older than her age. Actually almost reminds me of a knockoff of Charlie Sheen's character in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. She's got the whole arm crossing, dismissive posture, and too cool for school attitude really down pat. But it doesn't feel authentic. It's especially odd because she's not really set up as a bully. She's just bossy. The dynamic between the kids also felt off. The scene where the boys dig up what they found, only to be tricked by the girls, felt unnecessary. Why not have them work together? Realistically, kids this age tend to bond quickly, exchanging names and teaming up almost instantly. Instead, we're stuck watching this slow build up to a friendship that feels really inevitable anyway. And let's talk about the adults for the moment. Wim's dad comes off as incredibly inattentive. In Spielberg movies, they do a great job of getting the parents out of the way in a way that feels natural, I think, for the shows or movies. E.T. or Goonies, they do a good job of that. But here, Wim's dad just seems like he doesn't care. Unless there's a subplot explaining his behavior, it's really hard to root for him right now. Let's jump into the opportunities. By the end of the episode, the kids are in space, and this opens up so many opportunities. We're likely to leave the planet behind for good, except for maybe some scenes with the parents, which is fine by me. This setup allows the show to explore the galaxy, visit new planets, and dive into the Star Wars universe in really fresh ways. I also hope they revisit that large exam room we saw earlier. It's such a great opportunity to explore what life is like in the New Republic. What career paths are kids choosing? What pressures do families face in this era of supposed peace? Wim's dad seems stressed about work, and fleshing out these details could make the universe feel even more grounded. One line really stuck with me.
Because at long last I brought you to the only thing that matters. Cold, hard credits.
Only thing that matters now, cold, hard credits. It's a subtle but powerful theme. What motivates people in a post-Empire galaxy? Greed? Survival? Family? This idea has the potential to drive not just the episode, but the entire season. Now for the threats of episode 1. The chemistry between the kids is a bit rough right now. Wim's decision to push the green button that launches the ship into space, it just felt like it could have happened another way without making him look foolish. It felt forced, and most of the adults come off as mean or indifferent. I get that the show wants to emotionally isolate the kids, but it's a bit heavy handed. Hopefully, this softens as the story progresses. All in all, I really enjoyed this first episode. I feel like the pacing was good, there's a lot of action, and we learned a lot about the characters that make us want to learn more and continue to root for them. Alright, let's get into episode 2. Episode 2 introduced SM-33, the droid with the pirate's flair, and he stole the show from me. His line, "Shall I throw him out of the airlock for insolence, Captain?" really had me laughing, and my 4-year-old thought it was the best thing ever. SM-33 speaks in that classic "Arg, matey" pirate tone, and even has a peg leg. It might seem hokey to older viewers, but for kids, I think it's pure gold. Star Wars has a long history of amazing droids, from HK-47 to IG-11, and SM-33 is shaping up to be a new favorite. He's funny, kind of charming in his way, and fits perfectly into the Star Wars tradition of lovable mechanic companions. The spaceport montage was another highlight. Seeing all the aliens, both live action and CGI, was a real treat. The scale of this spaceport really gave me that classic Star Wars feeling of being in a galaxy teeming with a lot of life and possibilities. And Jude Law, perfect timing at the end. His appearance was the perfect way to close the episode. We still don't know much about his character, but his presence alone adds gravitas to the series. Alright, this was a great episode, but let's dive into some weaknesses. The kids splitting up to explore felt a bit like a Scooby Doo episode. Yes, it allowed us to see more of the pirate world, but it wasn't the most logical decision, even for kids. And character development remains uneven. So far, only KB and Fern have distinct roles. KB is tech savvy, and Fern is, well, bossy. Wim and Neil, meanwhile, feel underdeveloped. This is where Skeleton Crew could learn from shows like Stranger Things and movies like Goonies. In those stories, every character has a role and gets their time to shine. Hopefully, Wim and Neil get theirs in future episodes. One thing Skeleton Crew does well so far is it expands culture in Star Wars through language. The use of slang like wizard for cool adds continuity to the galaxy. It's a subtle way of fleshing out the universe and making it feel more lived in. One of the things the show does that Star Wars has been doing since it bought the IP is cleaning up some questions. Like in A New Hope, Uncle Owen calls Obi-Wan an old wizard. So now these kids say wizard to mean cool. So they're continuing to fix some basic culture continuity up and using slang to do it here. We saw Andor do a bit of this when we saw a version of AT-AT legs being used as a huge crane. It answers a question that may linger in the back of our heads. What else are these parts used for when there isn't a galactic war going on? The novels and comics have definitely shown the slang and hit on these topics, but it is great seeing it on the big screen for wider audiences to experience. It's an opportunity for the show to flesh out the Star Wars universe in grounded ways. My favorite thing about this episode was learning that their home planet, Adadin, is considered to be a lost planet of eternal treasure. It turns out that Adadin, to the rest of the galaxy, is a mythological place. But we know that the New Republic has a presence on this planet from the scenes with the Undersecretary. So, the business minded and just curious and civic minded part of me really wants to know what the New Republic has in mind for here. Is it some utopia? Is it like a planned city? What does eternal treasure mean? Is that why there is a barrier that no one is supposed to go beyond? I'm definitely looking forward to finding out. Alright, let's finish up episode 2 by talking about the threats. Fern continued to annoy me, but less so compared to episode 1. I just hope the boys versus girls thing gets dropped quickly. One of the biggest threats facing the show's success is the main character struggle. Right now, the story seems split between Fern and Wim. Fern comes across as unlikable, while Wim, who should be our hero, I think, hasn't been given a chance to step up. This tug of war for the spotlight could hurt the series if it doesn't resolve soon. Wim seems to be the most adventurous and is often the least afraid in their situations, as seen by his exploring the ship alone, and oftentimes he's not been given an opportunity to be heroic yet. The show seems to be split between Fern being the main character and Wim being the main character, and what they might have done is given us an unlikable character in Fern, and therefore a neutered main character in Wim. But there's definitely still time to see the characters develop. Alright, so that's my SWOT analysis review for Star Wars Skeleton Crew, episodes 1 and 2. There's a lot of potential here, and I'm having a great time watching it with my son. There are a couple hurdles the show needs to overcome. So, what did you think of these episodes? Do you agree with my analysis? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more Star Wars content. Until next time, may the Force be with you.